So I'm in the greater Houston, Texas area, and it's snowing, and it's very cold. This is not usual weather for my area, but we're going to make the most of it. The city is shut down because of road conditions and just the extreme weather, even though we are enjoying what little snow that we have. But I'm going to make some fresh hot donuts easy. Most local businesses in my area are shut down, but that doesn't mean we can't have fresh donuts in the morning, and I'm going to show you how easy they come together. So I am going to use the Thaw and Rise yeast dinner rolls from my local grocery store. If you have a good yeast roll recipe, it'll totally work for the donuts. So I'm going to make a dozen, and I like to thaw them in this muffin cup to keep them separated. And I'm going to put them in a cold oven with the oven light on, and once they're thawed, this took like an hour. Here I've separated squares of parchment paper, or I cut some parchment paper squares, and now this is how I'm just going to make the donuts. I'm going to take one, and I tried to roll this out without using flour, but it looks like I'm going to need a dusting of flour. Yeah, doesn't work. So just dust your clean work surface with flour lightly. And I'm not going to stretch these out too much, or at least I'm going to try not to. But you just want to roll it quickly. You probably could press it out with your hand, just like this. And I'm going to take a medicine cup and just cut out the center to make the donut hole. And you don't want to twist, you want to press. So just take that out, and that's it. So you end up with a donut hole and your donut. So I'm going to place it on this square sheet of parchment paper. And then after you go through all of the dough balls to create the donuts, you're going to let it proof and rise until double in size. So I'm just going to repeat the process for all of these dough balls. I have made several recipe videos creating my own yeast donut dough from scratch, and it all works, but I just thought I'd show you how easy it is to use that Thaw and Rise dough from the grocery store. And for those of you that cannot find these frozen dough balls, you could totally make your own and separate it into dough balls, freeze it separately, and then store. It really does come in handy when you want dinner rolls, or like I'm using it for donuts. Okay, so I'm just going to put this on parchment paper, and like I said, let it proof until double in size. I am adding vegetable cooking oil into a pan. You could do this in like a deep fryer if you have one, and just preheat that. And this is what the donuts look like. I actually only fit part of the dough onto this baking sheet, and the ones that I had on the counter, I'm going to put those in the oven now because they did not rise at all. It was too cold out here. So that goes into just, the oven is off with the oven light. It's warm enough. Okay, now for the glaze, it's very simple. 2.5 cups to 3 cups of powdered sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and water until it turns into the consistency that you like glaze. So I would say start with 1 or 2 tablespoons and work your way up with water until it kind of comes together like a glaze. You don't want to just dump water into powdered sugar because it's very easy to add too much. So just do little by little at a time. By the way, instead of making a glaze, you definitely can dust it with a sugar cinnamon mix. That is also perfect for these. So the glaze is ready, and I'm going to set that aside until I'm ready to use it. But this is pretty much the consistency that I like. And also, you don't have to just add water. You could also sub the water for milk, which a lot of people do. I just think it's easier to use water, but that's just me. Okay, so these donuts have proofed. They're doubled in size. And filming with one hand and doing this kind of disturbs the donut. You really want it to kind of puff up and get that line in the center of it. It really is an indication of a really well-proofed and fluffy donut. But I think when I was doing this one-handed, some of these, I pressed them too hard trying to get them off the parchment paper, and it kind of, released a lot of the air. I flattened some parts, but do the best you can. So this kind of is like, you can tell where I disturbed one side of the dough and the other one tried to puff up, but it's okay. It's still going to taste good once you glaze it. So I'm going to place these on a wire rack to hang out just to let them cool slightly. You still want them warm when you glaze them, but I don't want to put it from the fry oil into the glaze. It's not going to glaze well. So you want to let it hang out for a little bit. I'm going to remove that, and this one had a really good line where it kind of puffed up. And that's pretty much what you're trying to do. So for best results when you are frying donuts is minimum 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the temp that I'm working with. But I have read and seen recipes where they go up to like 365, 375 degrees Fahrenheit preheated cooking oil. I suggest you test it out and see what works for you. But around somewhere for the cooking oil I'm using right now, I think I got it up to about 360 degrees Fahrenheit. But, you know, again, trial and error. You have to do what you feel is best for you. The reason why you do want the cook oil to be at least 350 to 375 degrees Fahrenheit is minimum oil absorption into the dough. So here's what they look like. I still have more to fry, but this definitely is the perfect, easy way to get donuts when the city has shut down because of extreme weather. I'm going to glaze these, and some of you might think the glaze is too thick, so that's why I said just add your water or milk until you get the glaze consistency that you like. But that's it. And now once I'm done glazing it, I'm going to place it back on the wire rack until it cools and the glaze sets. And this is the donut. Not bad for a cold wintry day, donuts and coffee, and it's perfect. So I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.